Call upon Rabbi Mark Spivak of Congregation Or Torah to recite a Kapitel Tehillim.
Ashrei ha'ish asher lo halach be'atzas r'shaim u'v'derech chatoim lo amad u'v'moshav leitin lo yashav ki im b'soras Adonai chefzo u'v'soraso yegeh yamam v'layla v'haya ke'eit shaso al palgei amayim asher perio yitain b'ito v'aleu lo yibol v'chol asher yaseh yatzliach lo chen harishayim ki im kamot asher tidfenu ruach al ken lo yakumu rishayim b'mishpat v'chatayim b'atzas tzadikim ki yodei Adonai derech tzadikim v'derech rishayim toved.
Call upon Rabbi Mordechai Schiffman, Rabbi Dr. Mordechai Schiffman, the Assistant Rabbi of the Kingsway Jewish Center.
Mizmor David, Adonai, mi yagor bo alecha, mi yishkon bahar kodshecha. Holech tamim ufo al tzedek v'dover emes bilvavo. Lo ragal al lishono, lo asal reo ra'ah, v'cherpa lo nasa al krovo. Nivze be'enav nim'as, v'esirei Adonai yechabed, nishpala arav lo yamir. Kaspo lo nasam b'neshech, v'shochad al naki lo lakach, ose ele lo yimot lo olam.
We've gathered here this afternoon to give Kavod Acharon to our Rav Shmuel ben Harav Hillel, Rabbi Dr. Shmuel Tokayer, beloved husband of Mrs. Chani Tokayer, beloved father of Tzipporah and Howard, of Rabbi Eitan and Esther, of Malki and Rabbi Chaim, beloved brother of Rabbi Dr. Norman Tokayer, beloved grandfather of Bracha and Yisrael, Binyamin, Chaya Tzipporah, Atara, Hillel, Aliza Ziva, Moshe Hillel, and Yedidia Mordechai. I think we could probably describe the gathering here as paying tribute to a legend of the West Orange Orthodox community. And we're going to hear from distinguished speakers who will speak to that testament. I want to recognize all of the rabbis who are here to pay tribute, beginning with Rabbi Alvin Marcus, Rabbi Emeritus of Congregation A, B, J, and D, Rabbi Baruch Simon, Rosh Yeshiva at YU, Rabbi Mark Spivak, we just heard from, Rabbi Avram Stone, Rabbi Schiffman, who we heard from, Rabbi Eisenman from Passaic, and I apologize if I don't see someone in the crowd. First, we're going to hear from the Rav Ha'ir of Elizabeth, New Jersey, Rav Elazar Meir Tice.
The Pasuk says, Tomim tiyeh Hashem Elokecha. And the word Tomim is given many different interpretations. It refers to the quality of Tmimus, which is a holy naivete. But basically, Tomim means entire, whole. That a person should be the Odom HaShalim, a full person, a whole person. It's unfortunate in our lives, in the material world in which we live, that people manage to compartmentalize themselves. They are one individual when they're in shul, when when they're learning about Gemara, when they're doing their mitzvahs, and they're another person when they're out in the world plying their profession. The true Yirei Shamayim, the true Odom Tamim who fulfills Tam Tiyem Hashem Elokecha, is one who is shalem. He is entire. He is intact. He is not divided into parts, but everything that he does is part of the one whole. And that, to me, was the characteristic that was displayed. You pardon me if I refer to him as Shmuel. That's how I've known him for 65 years, and habits die hard. He was shalem. There were no parts to him. He was one solid whole. Whether he was plying his profession, which helped other people achieve shleimus of a different sort, whether it was his holy work as a male, as a chazan, when he was sitting and learning about Gemara, there aren't too many psychologists who are the authors of a shaila to which the tshuva appears in Rav Moshe Feinstein's works. He was one of them. He was and remains what he was when he was in yeshiva. He made the transition from the yeshiva world. It wasn't a transition. It was part of him. Whether he was in the yeshiva world, which remained a major portion of his personality throughout life, or applying his profession, at all times he was tamim, he was whole. It was all geared to helping others, to fulfilling the mission for which the Rebbeinu Shalom put him on this world. I could probably go on, but the members of the family will speak, and will speak at greater length, and I hope with greater eloquence. But his life serves as an example for others to emulate. You want to know how a Yid should live his life in this world, you can look to Rabbi Shmuel Tokayer. Not so much the doctor, the Rabbi Shmuel Tokayer as your guide. The idea that everything that was done was part of one whole, to do the Ritzon HaBorei, to do the will of his Creator, to accomplish the mission for which the Rebbeinu Shalom put him in this world. And that, in a lifetime of over 80 years, is what he did to the best of his ability, and the best of his ability was very, very good indeed. As such, the family can certainly take nechama in what he did, and say, it says, Tzadik HaTomer Yifrach, Ke'eretz Bavano Yiskeh. And the Gemara says that the two trees that are mentioned, the Tomar and the Erez, have different qualities. The Erez can be transplanted from place to place. It's Gizon Machlif. The Tomar is Osa Peros, who produces fruit. He, wherever he was, remained the same. It was Gizon Machlif. Plant him in his office, plant him in the shul. It was the same Shmuel Tokayer. And certainly as far as Osa Peros, he leaves behind a family dedicated to Torah and to Yiras Shamayim, and model for others to emulate. They can draw nechama in knowing that he lived life as it was meant to be led. They can draw strength from what he implanted in them during their lifetimes. May he be a Melis Yosher for them all, and may we speedily see the fulfillment of Piyah HaMos LaNetzach, Moch Hashem Elokim Yumam Yalkol Ponim. Amen. Amen.
Now call upon Rabbi Tokayer's nephew, Ira Tokayer, who will be giving Divrei Hesped on behalf of his father, Rabbi Tokayer's brother, Rabbi Dr. Toli Tokayer.
Bershus. At Uncle Shmuel's Hesped for his father-in-law, Mr. Dumler. He described life as a voyage or a journey. And before Uncle Shmuel's final journey, given his devotion to his family and to family in general, I thought it would be fitting to deliver a message on behalf of Uncle Shmuel's last surviving sibling, Yibadeh L'chaim, my father, Norman Tokayer, who is in Israel, but is attending through the magic of the iPhone. I speak on my behalf and on behalf of Uncle Shmuel's entire extended family, numerous nephews, some nieces, great-nephews, great-nieces, who are far-flung, some of whom are here, but are all saddened on this day. After the Levaya for Mr. Dumler, actually Uncle Shmuel called, and he thanked me profusely for attending the Kavura. But of course, it was Uncle Shmuel who taught me that kind of chesed, and it really was something that came very naturally to me, and I thank him for that. My father is the only one here or the only one left of the siblings who knew Uncle Shmuel his whole life, an entire life. And as the youngest of 7 siblings, Uncle Shmuel, my father does remember him even as a baby. He tells me that he was always fascinated by the breadth of Uncle Shmuel's accomplishments, from Torah Emes to Chaim Berlin, to Yeshiva in Telz, to Masad. I believe he went to Aleph and Gimel, to Morashah, as a rabbi in Wilmington, North Carolina, to Danville, Virginia, to his becoming an anchor in your community here, then a fledgling community of West Orange, where he assumed many leadership roles, including the Chevra Kadisha. To have so many experiences and bridging so many diverse communities was a source of wonderment and admiration for my father, and I'm sure others. This morning he compared Uncle Shmuel to his eponymous namesake, Shmuel Hanavi, who served as a bridge between the Shoftim and the Malachim, between the judges and the monarchic period. I can say on behalf of all of his nieces and nephews that Uncle Shmuel was a giant presence in our life. He instituted the famous get-togethers for his beloved father and mother, for their yortzites on the 9th of Tevet and on the 32nd day of the Omer. We would meet every year, more often than not, at Uncle Shmuel's house. We would all gather to remember them. He would speak of Ma and Pa, as he called them, and as sometimes cringeworthy as those events were, they are the main and probably the only reason why we as a family, and especially as cousins, have remained and remain to this day so close. I remember Uncle Shmuel actually speaking at my bar mitzvah many, many years ago at the Washington Hotel in Bell Harbor with a bandage on his head. Apparently he had been in an accident on the way up from Danville. He spoke, and he spoke in his usual eloquent way. He gave me my first mikra'ot gedolot, and I entrusted him to be my shaliach for my son's milah, and he gave my son his first mikra'ot gedolot not very long ago. I worked together with Uncle Shmuel at Morashah, which was a very special experience for me. He attended all of our smachot without fail, and we did our best to attend his. Hevel b'nei adam b'gviyatam, ach shem chesed lo yikaret. A man's body is a fleeting thing, but a virtuous name will never be lost. A man lives and lives on in what he has done and for what he has remembered. Uncle Shmuel will be remembered for his journey, his accomplishments, his unmatched devotion to family and tradition. As Uncle Shmuel said at Mr. Dumler's Levaya, nobody applauds when a ship leaves the harbor, but they celebrate when it arrives at its destination safely. Uncle Shmuel, tzeitchem l'shalom, u'boachem l'shalom, tehi nafsho tzura b'tzura ha'chayim.
greatest nachas for Rabbi Tokayer and for Mrs. Tokayer, Tibad L'chaim, their children, their grandchildren, and the tremendous honor and great pride that he had in the fact that his son and his son-in-law followed in his footsteps. And our Marbitz Torah B'Yisrael now call upon his son-in-law, Rabbi Chaim Jachter.
I want to acknowledge everyone from Sharei Orao came all the way to Livingston to show honor and respect to my father-in-law. Zecher Tzadik Livracha. I'd like everybody to listen carefully, but especially the grandchildren, and especially the grandnephews, grandnieces, because unfortunately, pretty much what you've seen in the last few years is your grandfather, your great-uncle, is being very, very sick. And for many of you, it's pretty much all you've seen. So hopefully now we can take a few moments, to try to understand and perceive who your grandfather was. And what a great man he was. Just take a look at the crowd. Look how many people are here. It's just incredible to show honor to Harav Shmuel ben Harav Hillel. But before I actually begin to extol my father-in-law, I want to take a moment to extol my mother-in-law, Yibadeh L'chaim Aruchim. Unbelievable. Ein milim. Unbelievable that you were able to take care of Harav Shmuel ben Harav Hillel at home. Never had to go to a nursing home. And you did it pretty much yourself. It's unbelievable. Ein milim. Ein milim. It's very important for the younger generation to look around, and they'll see something very, very important. Because the ethos of this generation is everything is myself. Everything is myself. iPhone. Everything. Me generation. Everything. Even in Israel. Everything. Pre-league. Everything's me. Even the dog food in Israel is dogli. Everything is me. Me. But that's not what makes a person great. Mishnah Perkei Avos says, "Uchshani latzmi." If you're only about yourself, if everything's about the iPhone, me. That's all it's about. If it's only about yourself, "Uchshani latzmi ma'ani." It's not enough. You're very small. One person. When you work for the tzibur, when you devote to the community, for the community's sake, just for the sake of helping the community, because it's the right thing to do. You build yourself up, you make yourself great. You're not just money, you're not just for yourself. You become great. There's a greatness. And that's why there's so many people here. There's so many people here to show kavod to Rav Shmuel ben Rav Hillel, to your grandfather, to your great uncle, because of how much he devoted to community. I was speaking to Harav Taitz this morning, and he pointed out, well, it seems that he was really a psychologist on the side. Everything was for the most part, he was a Moel. That's Moel, took care of the Chevra Kadisha at all hours. I remember just when coming and joining the family, middle of the night, of whatever was going on. That's it. It all has to stop. Put together a team. I can hear him call Mr. Ennis. We have to put together a team. We have to put together a team. Teaching and the Rabbanas. He was in the Rabbanas in Queens, in North Carolina, in Virginia, but he never really left it. Even after Virginia, after North Carolina, he still retained the Rabbanas. He still stayed in the Rabbanas. On Shabbatot, he was giving shiurim. He was giving shiur, the minyan that met on Devonshire, the Jacob's house. there was learning, that he was teaching. He gave a shiur in the afternoon, gave a shiur between Mincha and Marav, a Dvar Torah, when gathered Friday night in the basement of the Tokayer home for many, many years. Never let the Rabbanos, and always to the community. Even as a psychologist, it was as community. And I received a taste of this and understanding when Malka and I, when we were first married, and we went to rent an apartment in Elizabeth, and the building manager gave us a special hanacha, a special discount, because, if you're the daughter and son-in-law of the Tokayers have done so much for the community, and we need to do something back for you. It was incredible. It was incredible to see, as Ira already mentioned, or as Yisrael Dunn, as my father-in-law liked to call him, that my father-in-law, Rav Shmuel ben Rav Hillel, it was incredible how he was able to relate to everyone, literally every human being. He was able to relate, as you see him with his Satmar relatives, speaking in a Haimish or Yiddish. It was to see in dealing with people from all sorts of backgrounds, able to function in Tells and at Camp Masad, in Camp Marashah, and all kinds of, and the Milburn public school system, all kinds of settings. I have a special thank you for my father-in-law for whenever you came to visit, you sat down and you sang Zmirot. You made it your business to set an example for your grandchildren, and especially all your grandchildren, especially Binyamin, really love to follow your example of Zmirot. And unfortunately, I'm a little bit lax with that. But you set the example. You stepped in the breach, and you set an example for that's the way a Shabbat table has to look with proper Zmirot. And there's something more than that. There's something beyond that. Your grandfather, your great-uncle, gave you a little bit of a taste of what a European Jew was. He had, even though he was born in this country, he was raised in the Lower East Side, he was raised in Borough Park, he was raised by Yiddish-speaking parents with really a European, and he still had that a true, authentic European tom, which he had the ability to, which the grandchildren had the opportunity to gain from and see the Masorah and see the tradition and see the past. Cousin mentioned to me when I first told him that I was dating Malka. He mentioned he mentioned, oh yes, I remember your father-in-law from Camp Masad. He really loved music, and that's unbelievable. That really set him apart and stayed with him to the very end. Even Thursday night, even as late as this past Thursday night, what was the family going through? The family is going through the machzor, from beginning to end, to the whole Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, the whole machzor, from beginning to end. Sof davar kol nishma. You hear at the end what the essence of the person is, and that's the essence of the person. The music, but the holy music, the Torah music, the Zmirot from Rosh Hashanah Kippur, from his being, from his love of being a chazan. And I just want to conclude with just two more points. There's a lot to be proud of. All the children-in-law, grandchildren-in-law, grandchild-in-law, God willing, many more. In the future, very, very proud of a grandfather who finished Daf Yomi twice. He loved Daf Yomi, and he continued as much as he could. He pushed himself to go to the Daf Yomi, even at a time when it was difficult for him to do so, very difficult, and he did really to the last minute that he possibly could. And I want to conclude with one last thought, that Harav Shmuel ben Rav Hillel bore his illness with dignity. Never a complaint against Hashem. Incredible suffering, unending suffering, and never a word of complaint to the Ribono Shel Olam. And so, to the next generation, to 2 generations, a grandfather indeed to be very, very proud of.
On behalf of the grandchildren, Binyamin Jactor.
I just want to say a few stories about my grandfather, starting off that before he had any grandchildren, he was debating between